with coverage you can count on. Welcome to Erie News Now at 11.
Good evening, I'm Mike Ruzzi.
And I'm Emily Matson. We begin tonight with breaking news on the arrival of more than 100 immigrant children here to Erie County tonight.
Erie News Now was the only news crew there tonight as unaccompanied children caught up in the U.S. Mexico border crisis touched down at the Erie International Airport.
We were first to report the children were coming here for refuge last week, and tonight our Haley Potter joins us live now from the Summit Township dormitories where they're now safe and sound. Hi, Haley.
Hi, Mike and Emily. About 150 children under the age of 12 from the U.S. Mexico border crisis are now officially here in the Summit Township dormitories here behind me. We're told whenever they get here, they'll be given fresh clothing, toiletries, and pajamas to just kind of settle in for the night. Their buses arrived here just about a half an hour ago, but around 9, their plane touched down at the Erie International Airport, and we were there as they took their first steps off the plane here in Erie. And just a little while ago, I was at the airport as these unaccompanied children made their way off the plane coming from El Paso, Texas. They arrived here just a little before 9 with basically just the shirts off their back. Take a look. This is what we saw at the airport earlier this evening. We're told most of these children are under the age of 12, and a lot of them did look pretty little. A representative from the Health and Human Services says here at the dormitory there is one supervisor for every 15 children. Down in Texas, there was one supervisor for every 50 kids. Now that they're here, the goal is to keep them comfortable until they can reunite them with their families.
After children arrive, they'll be seen by a physician, and then they'll be taken and be able to take a shower, and they'll be given a bag full of clothes, pajamas, clothes for tomorrow, and everything they need to get settled in for the night.
And now that they're officially here at the dormitories, they'll be seen by a physician, a psychiatrist, and be given a caseworker. We'll keep you updated through that entire process on Erie News Now. Reporting live from Oliver Road, Haley Potter, Erie News Now.
All right, thanks, Haley. And ever since we first reported the children were coming to Erie from the southern border, people have, Emily, been reaching out, asking how they can help out.
Yeah, people have called our newsroom, messaged us on Facebook, emailed us, wanting to know how they can help. So is there any way that they can at this point? So our Elsbeth Meisner spoke with some people who reached out to us. She joins us live from the dorms tonight as well in Summit Township with this story. Elsbeth.
Mike and Emily, certainly a lot of people have been reaching out to us asking what they can do. Right now, there's not a whole lot they can do. We do know they will be having fresh clothes, toiletries, and clean sheets this evening to sleep on. As far as volunteers go, we do know that a woman outside of Pittsburgh named Sister Linda with the Holy Family Institute is the one who's in charge of those volunteers. But for now, there's still a lot of questions that are left unanswered.
Meet Leroy Oglesby. He's worked in foster care and adoption services for years. So when he heard about young children coming to Erie from the border, he wanted to help.
And I do this kind of work, and I was thinking, 150 kids, there's trauma, there's loss, there's hopelessness. Like, what can I do to kind of just, help, in any kind of way. So I decided to start reaching out to people.
He says within an hour of sharing this online, he had almost 20 people who wanted to help out as well.
Right now, we're still just kind of waiting for someone to maybe give contact with us to see what we can do to help. But in the meantime, we're kind of just, putting our minds together, seeing, thinking about what ideas we can come up with when the time comes for us to help out.
He's not alone. Pastor Lamont Hagenbottom has wanted to help these young children too, especially after he heard about them making their way up to Erie.
There's a lot of unanswered questions right now. But just stand ready to provide in whatever way possible, and let Erie shine again.
He's reached out to local officials and other churches who want to help out. Right now they're just waiting with ways they can be of assistance. He says this outpouring of support is just the type of place that Erie is.
We've seen this city come together several times, especially in times of tragedy when there's someone in need. And it's just the heartbeat of Erie to help.
And Pastor Higginbottom did say that he has been in contact with the Erie County Department of Health Services, and his name is on a list for people who are resources and people who are willing to help these young children here. But again, he has not heard anything back yet, and he's still waiting for answers. But one thing that we've learned from all of this is that the Erie community is ready and willing to help these young children. Live outside of the dormitories on Oliver Road, Elspeth Meisner, Erie News Now.
Yeah, that most definitely is true, and this is proof that people are willing to help, especially when people need it the most. Elspeth Meisner, thanks so much for that report. Well, those children will be sleeping in a safe place tonight for many of them after what was a treacherous and heartbreaking journey to America, and after living in horrible conditions that you saw in that video at the U.S. Mexico border. Many migrants who have tried to cross over illegally say they had no other choice as they face certain death if they were to return home. CNN's Rosa Flores reports on migrants who were expelled by the Biden administration now living in squalor and fear of returning home.
Some of the more than 100,000 migrants expelled by the Biden administration last month ended up here at a plaza located in the crime and kidnapping hotspot that is Reynosa, Mexico, living in squalor and with impossible choices.
Si regresamos, nos van a matar.
Idalia Paye says her husband and daughter face certain death if they return to El Salvador, where their family business couldn't cover a $200 a month extortion fee to criminal gangs.
Vamos a ir a trabajar.
She says she just wants to work and provide for her daughter. In Reynosa, she and so many expelled migrants are now surrounded by the same dangers they fled. Attorney Jennifer Harbury has been representing migrants like her since 2016.
The problem that was created by President Trump is so enormous that it's not settled yet.
And while President Joe Biden is perceived as more humane than his predecessor, some of his decisions
we're sending back the vast majority of the families that are coming
have Jennifer urging Biden to consider their true impact.
People are being hurt, raped, attacked, and killed in northern Mexico because we have sent them back. That's not humanitarian.
And it leaves moms like this one from El Salvador with a Sophie's choice.
Y no quería separarme de ellos.
With her special needs child in arms, she says she didn't want to separate from her 12 and 16-year-old sons on the banks of the Rio Grande.
Your son said it's best if you separate.
Sí, él.
They had been expelled to Mexico twice under the pandemic public health rule, which allows for the swift return of migrants to Mexico, when her oldest son told her he wanted to cross alone with his brother because the Biden administration was allowing unaccompanied children to enter the U.S. She says she felt she was dying as she watched her sons cross the river hand in hand, in tears, and then gesture goodbye. She says she misses her sons, who are now in a shelter in New York. As for Idalia and the migrants who are stuck in this dangerous plaza in Reynosa,
Are you scared?
Sí.
their American dream is still alive, despite having to sleep in shifts to watch each other's backs. Rosa Flores, CNN, Reynosa, Mexico.
You know, Mike, yeah, this is a politically charged story, but when you hear stories of that poor mother who literally watched her children walk away in hopes of a better life and safety, it's just heartbreaking to think these children here in Erie, many of them experienced or may have experienced a similar situation.
Some incredible emotions pouring out of that story. And Emily, some states taking a different approach, like Iowa, not even taking in migrant children at this time. All right, moving on. New at 11 tonight, no COVID vaccine and no entry. That's the word for fans of the Buffalo Bills and Buffalo Sabres. Now, according to our NBC